The truth is, our everyday purchases are doing a lot more to affect our everyday lives than we think they are. Because the market doesn't respond to our opinions. It responds to our purchases. So if the world around you is feeling more disconnected, if your community is feeling smaller, it might be worth asking, what have you been making possible? Hey friends, welcome back to the Human-Canine Alliance. I'm Stacie. This episode kicks off a multi-part series on something that's usually reserved for boardrooms and billionaires. You may have heard of the term impact investing, the idea that investors can align their capital with their values. That money can generate financial returns while also creating positive social or environmental impact. It's a powerful idea. But here's the problem. Most of us aren't managing venture funds or private equity portfolios. We're managing grocery carts. We're managing streaming subscriptions. We're managing monthly bills. So I took this down a different road. What if impact investing isn't just for investors? What if we can use it as daily consumers? What if we shifted the conversation from impact investing to impact spending? Because supply and demand isn't just an economic theory. It's the quiet force shaping our culture, our incentives, even our public health. Every click, every stream, every swipe, every purchase, they're reinforcing incentives. They're rewarding behavior. They're telling the market what to make more of. Here's what most of us maybe don't realize, don't consider, or simply forget. The market doesn't have morals. It has metrics. It doesn't respond to opinions. It responds to revenue. Your social media feed, supply and demand. Your Netflix recommendations, supply and demand. Your Amazon homepage, okay, you get it. The more you engage with something, the more it multiplies. So, here's the uncomfortable question. If markets respond to behavior, what are we telling them to make more of? Because every purchase isn't just a transaction. It's reinforcement. We may not like the outcomes we're living in, but we've been participating in the incentives that built them. We vote with our wallets every single day, whether we intend to or not. And when you zoom out far enough, that becomes a structural issue. Okay, so let's zoom out. Because once you understand supply and demand at the consumer level, you start to see something bigger happening at the structural level. In Real Impact, Morgan Simon talks about how much of our economic system operates on what she calls palliative change instead of structural change. Palliative meaning we wait for damage and then we fundraise to clean it up. Structural meaning we change the incentives from the beginning, right? Here's the part that stopped me in my tracks. In the United States, foundations are legally required to give away only a minimum of 5% of their assets every year. 5%. That means 95% of their capital can be invested anywhere, even in ways that contradict with their mission, as long as it generates returns. And the theory on that is if they're generating more returns, then they have more to contribute to that minimum of 5%. Morgan uses this analogy. It's like showing up for 24 minutes of your 9-to-5 job and calling it a full workday. Or imagine an oil spill covering thousands of square miles of ocean, and you're handed 1 square mile worth of paper towels. That's what it looks like today when annual foundations give around $46 billion annually to a global economy circulating around $196 trillion. And the $196 trillion circulating in our economy, it starts with us, literally. And that brings us to something deeper. I recently listened to an interview with Congressman Ro Khanna, who represents Silicon Valley. He was talking about billionaire wealth, tech founders, taxation, and the heat he took simply for raising the question, if you've benefited enormously from the system, shouldn't you reinvest in it? That isn't anti-innovation. It isn't anti-success. It isn't anti-wealth. It's reciprocity, which is a term we talked about in detail a few episodes ago. Feel free to go back and listen. Rep. Khanna explained that many of the technologies generating massive private wealth today, they didn't appear out of thin air. They were seeded by public investment. Stanford, DARPA, the National Science Foundation, federal research grants, taxpayer-funded infrastructure. Public investment helped build the foundation. Private builders scaled it. And that relationship matters. Because when extraordinary wealth is created inside a system built with public dollars, there is an implied social contract. It's not punishment. It shouldn't be resentment. It's responsibility. And this is where impact spending comes in. Because if billionaires benefit from public investment and corporations benefit from consumer demand, then what do communities get back from the investments? And what do public systems get back from the institutions that they seeded? What do we as consumers get back? A social contract only works if both sides participate. Consumers, we need to start participating in a more intentional way. Now let's connect the dots. When success is only measured in growth and profit, connection starts to look inefficient. Think self-checkouts, mobile drive-thrus, speed over interaction. And community becomes optional because who has time for that in a system obsessed with growth, right? And in recent years, we've started to see the consequences show up in places that were probably pretty unexpected, like public health. Loneliness has been declared a public health crisis in the United States, being compared to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Chronic social isolation has been linked to significantly increased risks of dementia, stroke, heart disease, and premature death. We are more digitally connected than ever, but feeling more alone than we've been in decades. I want to close with something simple. Years ago, one of my former bosses told me only rich people can afford cheap things. Admittedly, at first, I did not understand what he meant. And so he explained that when you buy cheap things, you usually buy them repeatedly. They break, they wear out, they're disposable. And that all rings true, right? But when you invest, you research, you compare, you take care of what you buy. And over time, you typically will spend less. It took me years to really implement that mindset. But once I did, something shifted. I started to think about what I was spending over time and how often I was throwing things out. I stopped grabbing things just because they were there. And now I'm starting to think about what I'm reinforcing. And maybe that's the softer entry point into impact spending. Not guilt, not outrage, just awareness. What are you reinforcing? Because your dollar is not neutral. It's building something. The question is, Is it building a world you want to live in? In the next episode, we're going to dig deeper into this idea of power, incentives, and why change feels so difficult, even when we can see the problem clearly, plain as day. I will also be drawing from Jasmine Rashid's work and her book, The Financial Activist Playbook, to explore how everyday people can think differently about money and influence. That's you. That's me. Everyday people. This is just the beginning, you guys. I say that all the time, but we are learning so much here on this podcast together. I am Stacie. This is the Human-Canine Alliance podcast. I hope you continue to listen and watch.